They're like, oh yeah, a guy with Pennsy steam comes in every once in a while. They're not really much. Really test the LED in the headlight, but we'll take this at 10. Proceed to 15. Hello, everyone. It has been a while, and I'm back from being out of town with my close significant. And yeah, it's time to get back to doing trains. Now, today we have an in depth review for not just one set, but two sets. Now, I'm going to be comparing between the Broadway Limited Imports E7A and E7B set. Over here, the Tuscan Red scheme. These are both A and B powered with QSI, made in Korea. And then we have the Paragon 3 E7A/B set. A unit is powered, but no B unit being powered. Made in China as well. Now, this is the last run that the E7s have been seen so far, especially for Pennsylvania. And we'll probably see them again at some point in Paragon 4. However, quick disclaimer, ever since, I guess, maybe around Paragon 2 or Paragon 3, they started doing that the B unit is unpowered. I'm not sure if it started in Paragon 1. I'm just not sure. I think Blue Line started the unpowered B units. If not, maybe QSI for the F units, which is which pretty much is a shame actually, because I know we're going to look at the boxes first, but I really wanted to get this out of the way. It's a shame because other manufacturers that do B units, that do sets with them, are already powered. I'm talking about Walthers, and I'm talking about Ather and Genesis, because they both do E's and F units, and they're all powered. All sets of them have powered that include a B unit. There's no unpowered B unit. Ather in the older days used to do unpowered B units or unpowered A units that were included with, A units. They kind of did away with that. I don't really see unpowered B units from Walthers or any of the other major manufacturers that do A and B units anymore, including Bachmann, for crying out loud. So, for a premium company, right, like Broadway, to not do like another powered B unit, but if you want to get a powered B unit, you have to buy it separately. So it's kind of like a money trap where, like, well, I want an A/B set, but the A/B set, right, you get an unpowered B unit, so you only get like one powered unit, and you just get like a slug behind you. So it's just unpowered, and it doesn't give you any extra pickup. So it's not really a slug. It's more dead weight with drag, and it's weighted. So, what does it really do for the model besides just be like a rolling passenger car rather than be powered like, the older QSI, sets from the Made in Korea days where they were both powered A and B units, It's really strange to me why they didn't, keep this going. And some people probably like, well, the obvious answer is because they wanted to save money and they cheapened out. And to be honest, that could be a good possibility. It's a shame though, because this is a nice weight powered B unit, and that's all you need. You only need two units that were powered, and they can pull a really nice passenger train for a good amount of time. And but for this, if you wanted to get, just an A and B unit of E units, you would have to get this separately, and the B unit, which was powered separately as well. But you're spending a lot of money already than what you would get if you got two of them as a set. Otherwise, you're gonna have to get an A, B powered set. I don't really know with this not being powered for the Paragon 3, and you have to get another A unit that's powered. Or another A unit that's powered, so that you actually have the two locomotives that are powered. But then here you go, you can get an ABA of these, QSI ones, right? The first run that were made in Korea. and you would get an A, BA, and you get 3 powered units. So 3 powered diesel locomotives, that's a lot of power, especially on the HO. That's a lot of power, and that could pull pretty much anything, really, regardless if it's freight or passenger. Really, I mean that's a lot of power, for HO. And I know it's funny because I was thinking about getting another A unit if I sell some stuff off that I don't really need anymore because, quick announcement, after this review, I will be listing this A-B set of the Paragon 3, and I'll be selling them off. And I'll explain why I prefer this over this. And there's a couple things, mainly because, both A and B are powered, in this set. And I got this for $250. Nothing is wrong with it. And I looked at the wheels, and they're not too worn, if barely at all. I mean, they're not too worn. And they look really great. This is a really nice model. And the only main differences I find between, the QSI model and this model, maybe in the interiors. There is no crew figures in here. And if I look inside the E7 to the Paragon 3, there's no crew figures in there too. So you have to include crew figures of both. Now, yes, it's missing the couple over here, which, to be honest, I'm not going to run this, E unit with a coupler. This is a passenger train. It's not going to run with the coupler open in the front. Most likely, if it's going to be towed, it's going to be towed from the rear. This is not going to be behind, an ABA set. So, the underside of both models look pretty much exactly the same. The tooling is exactly the same, guys. For both generations. I mean, there's a Paragon 2, and there's the Paragon, not Paragon, I'm sorry, Blue Line version of these. The Blue Line started, I believe, yes, I think I remember now. Blue Line did have the unpowered B unit, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody can correct me on that. And that's a shame because, man, these are nice, And I'm surprised Broadway just lowballed themselves and be like, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. It's like, well, why, Or I really like the idea of, I really like that idea of having, like what the other companies have been doing with, A and B. So yeah, that's reason number one. Both powered A, B in units, and these are Tuscan red. And I kind of want my passenger trains, especially diesels, to be Tuscan red, because usually they were Tuscan red. Some of them were dark green. But later on in the years, they became Tuscan red. And I really like the Tuscan red. Tuscan red is really nice. It's not dark. The E's in real life were rather light colored in the Tuscan red, especially with diesels. So these are really nice. The only main difference between, these is the tank detail and maybe some of the builder's plate stuff down here is really the red here, the yellow, and then this right here, the builder's plate. And they're all legible. But here's the thing, the details are pretty much all the same. I can't seem to figure out, what are the real main differences. I mean, yeah, there's no, painted details on the fuel tank and with the extra builder's plate. But to be honest with you, it's not a big deal. That's just it. And I think these can't rotate, but that's okay. I don't mind about the positions of the windshield wipers. But yeah, I mean, there's no real exterior detail. I mean, on here, right? It doesn't say the PRR, on the keystone. This actually has a locomotive number, which I guess is pretty cool. Not sure why it's not just a PRR crest instead of just a number. It could be a freight version of this. That's probably what it's going for. I don't know, because it's got the numbers on the side already. And this is more crisp than this. I mean, yeah, these are like a yellowish color, stripes. But if you look at the museum with the real E's, it's got like a yellowish gold color. I mean, this is more like a gold leaf right here. And it's got, Pennsylvania going across. And these are thicker numbers than that. I mean, you can argue all day which one's probably got the better details, but to be honest with you, the tooling is exactly the same. There is extra separately applied details inside here. So I'm pretty sure there's some separately applied details in here. So I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same. We'll actually look inside the boxes first. So, just letting you know, these are exterior-wise the same. And I'm pretty sure mechanical-wise they are the same. But we'll get to that in a bit. We're going to start with the boxes and talk about, how good the packaging is first. Okay, so we're going to look at the Paragon 3 box. Now, the Paragon 3 box, you get your operator's manual. And I'm pretty sure you've seen these in other videos. They're pretty straightforward. This is just your typical diesel, this is your typical diesel manual right here. So, it's got all the same stuff that you'd see in any other diesel, manual of the Paragon 3 and also Paragon 4 era locomotives. And there's some of your CVs and how to do like an easy consist. So there's all the CVs. And, this is a pretty good, control manual. Or whatever, operator's manual. Now, the box itself, we don't need to look at, this also exploded diagram. Which is neat. Look at this. Now, what's interesting? This right here, this is not Paragon 3 motor. Decoder. Yeah, decoder. Sorry about that. So this is exploded, and I'll be honest with you, this is a poor picture. Like, this is not clear. These speakers, I'm gonna have to change out on some new project I haven't talked about yet. We'll talk about that later. There's your interior detail and all that stuff, your drive shafts, and your worm gears and your gearbox towers and all the other stuff. There's not too much parts in this, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's your screws for screwing stuff down and your coupler boxes, but this is not really that much parts. So, that's good on the maintenance side. And I think that's it. It's just for the... Oh, no, there's a B unit. But it's interesting. They have this in here, right? But there's no motor. This is unpowered. So it's like, why? I guess this is for in case people want to power the B units. But then you got to spend extra money just to get the motor, right? And we'll look inside the B unit and see how much you have to really get just to, get another powered unit going, and that's just the main problem with, for me, for these E units is just, for the Paragon 3 and some of the other generations that don't have another powered, unit with the set that you buy, it's just, you have to spend more money, or you have to spend more money by getting them separately, so that's the major downside I see. So here we are, we have foam boxes, foam cradles. Yeah, some people are not going to really like this at all. They're okay. These are pretty sturdy, but there's not enough, softness to really protect the model. Even though it's, it's held pretty snug in there. And it's got, the plastic protective over the shells. So that's cool. You got silica gel so they keep, moisture out. And there's your, protective top to protect the train phone on these models. And it doesn't have the little guides that they have down here for the B unit, which is strange. But hey, that's how it came. This was brand new in the box when I bought this, so. And I haven't used these that much, which goes to show. I brought them to the to the fair to be on stack display. Just sit there, just droning, making sounds, I guess, the A unit. And the sounds were nice. Don't get me wrong, the sounds were really nice. It's just, Paragon 3 problems we'll get to in a bit. But, yeah, it's kind of a downgrade to older boxes. They used to be black foam boxes. It felt kind of luxurious. Similar to how Athearn would do it to their stuff. And we'll get to that when we look at the QSI box. But, yeah, it's more foamy kind of stuff. Reminds me of Paragon 4 and some of the other diesels that they did all this stuff for. So that's kind of the downside of the Paragon 3 box. I mean, it still has that, exterior-wise look similar to and a feel towards, the other boxes. And we got the QSI box. It's got Quantum QSI. This is a Paragon series. There's the details on this. 731 product. They're not over there. They're in Ormond Beach now. And yeah, they're pretty cool. So we're going to look inside the box. And this box I think is better. If I can do it. I think I could do this with one hand. I'm not sure, but if not, nah, probably not. No, yeah, I'll probably do it. All right, we'll stop here and then I'll open this box. Okay, so the box is open now. Now we're going to take a look, and here you go, foam. You might think, well, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, that's all you really need. And it had some, paper wrap in there as well when I got these. So it added some extra protection as well. And yeah, this is pretty good. It came with this foam piece right here to go on top right here, just to protect the locomotive's train foam, which is nice. It's simple foam. It's not hard foam. It's simple foam that keeps it squish. Some extra protection. And we got some detail parts here. They're all black, which is fine. I'm kind of curious where all these parts go. I'm seeing some stuff that looks like it would go on some interesting areas. I am just not 100% sure. I know these go in the back, and I know these go in the front, or some of these go in the front, where this E7 has some detail parts. I'll have to figure it out. It's going to be interesting when I put these detail parts on. Obviously, I'm going to keep these black. I don't think there's going to be any handrails on the top or anything like that, or anything too fancy, so I don't have to worry about that. And the lift rings on this model look really good, especially both of them, actually. Again, it's the same tooling, so keep that in mind. But yeah, the box with the foam and all that stuff, this is, in my opinion, better. It's more flexible. It can, it can move around a bit, when the models are both in there. And I mean, yeah, sometimes the details fall apart in here. I haven't seen that. I mean, with these hoses down here, they fell apart a bit, but that's okay. I didn't lose anything, so there's no parts missing on the AB set, which is great. These were really kept in good condition. So yeah, that's it for the boxes. The boxes on these, except we didn't look at this, so we'll look at this. So it's got Paragon E-unit engine, so it's an AB set. That Southern Pacific looks really good. I heard those are rare and quite expensive. It says DCC users, the regulated throttle control and speed control figures described in your instruction manual are not available on this unit at this time. This will not affect the conventional or analog performances of this unit in any way. I'm sorry. These two functions have been eliminated because of threats of litigations by Mike's Train House. QSI believes the claims by Mike's Train House is unfounded because these control features were developed by QSI and others and were in use long before Mike's Train. Okay, so this is this was during an interesting time, which is a story you could probably hear on the internet anytime you want. So, this is pretty simple stuff, and this is really unique. This instruction manual has got some unique stuff. It's different. It's definitely different than any of the other generations. This is really unique to QSI or the Paragon 1 era's stuff, and I'm pretty sure PCM had something similar to this as well. I'm not 100% sure. Near the back, here's a look on the inside of the E units. This is what it's going to look inside our E units for the Paragon 1 models, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be very similar inside the Paragon 3 model. And we got some, this shows you where to do some lubrication, where to do some grease. Right here, that's pretty cool. It tells you how to lift the shells off for A and B units. Well, not mainly just the A units, but the B unit's pretty straightforward, actually. So this is A unit only. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward. It used to be in Ivy, Virginia, but then he moved to Ormond Beach, Florida. So that is that, actually, with the Paragon 1 models, or with the I like to call them the Quantum series, because this is the only time they really had the name Quantum in them. After that, they just used, when Quantum, I guess, went bust, they just took the Quantum decoders and built them from there. So yeah, we'll get inside these locomotives. We'll start with the Quantum sound ones, even though they're the true stars of the show. We'll start with the Quantum sound ones, and we'll look inside them, and we take a look at how well those are made. Okay, so we're looking at this, and you got your speakers here. Now these speakers are, I can do 3 watts. Actually, you know what? I'm not 100% sure if I really want to change these speakers. Speakers look pretty fine. There's some of the interior stuff. You got a volume control, I believe, right here, which is pretty cool. Very interesting. Now, I know Broadway could probably try to fit a smoke unit in here if they want to, but personally, I think Broadway should just ditch the smoke units. I really don't like them. Now, it's really cool, right? Look at this. One of these is, well, this is not the Mars light, but this is the headlight. It's just interesting. I'm curious on how this works, honestly. I am really curious on how this works. It is really interesting how how this works with that. And I'm pretty sure it's because of light piping. That's what this light does. It lights up and then lights in front of this, and this is supposed to be the Mars light. I'll have to figure that out. I'll see if the Mars light thing does actually work when we do the test stuff. Because then for future things I'll do with these, I'll have to figure something out with that. So that'll be really interesting. Then we got 2 speakers, one in front, one near behind the cab. I'll have to add some crew figures in here at some point. And you could probably do some little paint details on here, make it look, add some details if you want. Can't see the motor, unfortunately. It's actually fairly low in here. It's nice and weighted. Got some pickups. You got right rails red, so I already know what the red wires are. So I will have to take some of this apart to see what's going on in here. All I know is that the red wire is plus and the black wire is minus. So I got a red wire coming from over here. So this is a right rail for over here, and this is the right rail from over here. I'm going to have to do some checks on this. And this is your typical Paragon 1 decoder, QSI decoder. It's got BLI E7. It says HO, and it's got QSI right there. So pretty simple decoder. Nothing too advanced or anything like that. Inside of the shell, pretty sparse. Looks like they had this when they do spray paint. This used to be that green color, or that color that you would get if you buy, if you buy the non-painted versions. So yeah, it's pretty open to open this, actually. So when I put this back in, it'll just, there you go. It goes right back in, like no issues. And there you go. You should still hold the model carefully. They probably like, oh, you broke it. Nope. This is a snap-on piece right here, so you can just slightly open one side and it should snap out, and you can just clip this back on. Pretty cool, pretty, nice. No problems with that. So the next one is to do the B unit, and we'll stop right here and we'll get to that in a second. Alrighty, so this is the B unit open. Same thing, it looks like they didn't completely spray the inside, which is fine. It still looks really good on the outside. Same thing, same decoder. I got same speakers. Now these are not 1 watt speakers, so I will have to definitely replace these speakers and rewire them. This is a no-no because some of the times when I was running the speakers, right, on my other models, they oh my gosh, they did not like, you know, I guess not like the power when more sounds are playing and they want to go and all that stuff. So if you're gonna buy Paragon 1 and Blue Line, I would replace the speakers. Paragon 2, I guess it depends because I didn't ever replace my Q2 speakers and they still sound really, really good. So I wouldn't worry about that. Again, you got plus motor, well, it's not motor, but plus and minus. The motor, this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out. This is definitely coming from the motor right here, and we'll take a look at that. Now, I'm only gonna have one of these units open when I do this, and I'm gonna do it on a B unit to look at the motor because they're pretty much same inside each other, except over here where they have details in here. So we're not gonna worry pretty much about the A unit as much anymore. So when we look at like details inside here, that's what we're gonna mainly focus on. So in order to look under there, we will need to take off a couple of screws. I'm not sure how well we're gonna be able to see inside there. I'm gonna keep all the screws in one area. Pretty much right here. I know people are like, well, when you use the top, it's like, well, there's a couple reasons why. No, we'll need to do this again when I do a future project on these. And I know people are like, oh, you're going to do TCS WOW on these. And it's like, yep, I will be doing TCS WOW on these. Some people are like, well, why don't you do ESU? And, you know, I don't have a luck programmer. And I don't want to waste time, you know, with luck programmer. It's like, well, you got to buy one. It's like, well, I got to wait for it. You know, like that. You know, my club has it, and I don't want to wait to go to my club. So why not just use TCS? And TCS sounds are really good for diesels, guys. They are pretty good, in my opinion. They sound really nice. And I can't wait to see how they sound once I do the upgrades on these E units. And since both of them are powered, I figured, you know what, this would be a really good project. Now, some people are probably going to be wondering, and I know I'm going sidetracking because I'm trying to kill time. What about the L1, right? The L1 and that what people voted for, and the K4, the Platinum Line K4 1361. And to be honest, guys, we're going to have to wait on those. Right now, I looked on eBay for my usual buyers I get decoders from, and they're pretty much out right now. And I'm not spending $140 for a decoder kit. And people are like, well, you spent $120 on decoder kits. And yeah, that is true. However, that is my limit. That is my absolute limit, and that's for me to, like, you know, continue doing stuff for decoders. We're still stuck. Why? Why are we still stuck? Why can I not lift this thing off? Is there a sticky in the middle? It shouldn't be stuck by anything. Is this a clamp? I think I have a clamp in the middle. Well, I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to see if I can take this off, and we'll get right back to it. Okay, so I got this open. I got to creak it open a bit. Let me turn on some light. Well, light's fine. But inside here we have if it can focus, there is an iridescent motor in here. I'm trying to get some more light in here. But there's an iridescent motor in here. Alright, and then this motor, right? This motor can pull. And this is the motor that you would see in Paragon 1 models and pretty much blue line models. I'm not sure about Paragon 2. I didn't really see a lot of these iridescent color motors in Paragon 2 motors. Well, not motors, but models too much. So if not so far. So this is a really good motor. Just letting everyone know there's a solid motor in here. The gearbox, when we looked at the photo, I'm not sure how I'm going to reach without taking this thing completely apart, which I'm probably not going to really do. But I'll see if I can open the sides and if we can access the gearbox on the bottom. What's going on down there is that the motor, the gearbox that's in there, it's got dark gray gears. And I've had, from experience, especially from other people's experience, QSI diesels are, especially the E's, the E's are one of the best models that Broadway has made. And they keep chugging and they keep running and they just keep running and running and running and running and running. The problem is that these QSI decoders like to overheat. They like to overheat and they are energy hogs. They will suck that energy dry. They're fine decoders. It's just that, they require a lot of energy and they like to overheat over time. Especially if we run these models for a good amount of time non-stop. So that's just a really main downside. And the sounds are dated. Let's be honest here. QSI sounds are rather dated. And you can always swap it out with better, sounds and whatnot. And you can fit like the kits in here. Like there's a lot of room in here so that you can fit kits. That's what's good about, these E's. These E's, you can fit like kits in here. Like, this is where the roof line is. You can fit a lot in here if you wanted to. So that's the good thing about this model. I'll put all the unscrews on here. And, to say in short, this is a really well-built model. This is a really well-built model. It's pretty, robust. It's reliable. This is not going to, shit the bed or anything like that. This is one of those good Broadway products that you can buy and they will run reliably. And you can't upgrade these. This is I know people are looking at this like, well, how am I supposed... you're going to have to do a rewiring job. Yeah, it's just what you're going to do with Broadway models, majority of them. You're going to have to do something like this. This is a TCS decoder, for example. And you're just going to have to follow this, right, to do this and to upgrade it. You're going to have to do a hardwiring job to make it, NMRI compliable with multiple decoders. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to do some hands-on stuff on these early models if you want to upgrade them, have better sound, and if you want to add more lighting, that's totally up to you. So yeah, that's pretty much for the top side. We'll see if we can open the bottom side and look at the gearboxes. That's what I really want to see is the gearboxes, and we'll show you guys that. And you can make it. You can think for yourselves, guys. You don't need me to think for you. And these diesels you can find all over the place. Now, I'm guaranteed. When I've opened these up, I'm pretty sure that the parts are going to be the same, if not slightly different. And I'm pretty sure the gears are all the same inside the gearboxes. There's nothing really different, guys. Broadway rarely changes their tooling, and when they do, you'll know the differences if they're internal or external. But usually internal stuff stays rather the same in terms of gear sizes and all that stuff. So when we look at this, we'll see if that's true or not. Because if you have these older ones, how you're going to get parts? They don't support the older ones anymore. Well, I'm pretty sure you can just swap whatever these have and just put it under here. You just got pieces, or you go to their store online and say, hey, I need parts for this E. Do you have any more E parts? And they should have them. So to be honest, I wouldn't worry about parts for these. They're made in abundance. So I wouldn't worry about it. And again, I haven't really heard anything from, my club members saying these E suck or anything. It's just that the coders run hot. That's the only really downside that my club members have to say, including my president, who really prefers Atlas, Walthers, and Athearn, those, and Cato. Can't believe I keep forgetting Cato. But yeah, those are the big four that our club really uses for, as a nonprofit organization, we have to run during the fair. And I know people have been saying that, I've been stressing this before, and some people are like, well, why are you talking about this in an in-depth review? This is what you will see a lot of e-units being used for. A lot of them you could probably use for, you will probably see being used for, museums. You'll see being used, especially in HO scale, for like operations like we do for our club. We run these things for 4 hours, 4 to 5, sometimes 6 hours straight with, no stopping. Unless there's an emergency for some reason, something's going wrong with the layout. And that's that. So for there to, these guys have to handle all that. And these have. And they just keep running for years and years and years, and they haven't had really any breakdown issues so far as I know from the information on these for my club. So, if my club still has them, even though they're not really Broadway advocates, when it comes to ease, they like the ease, even if they don't want to admit it. We still have ease from Broadway there. We have Florida East Coast E-units, E7s, I believe. I don't think we have E6, but they're E7s. We have Florida East Coast E7s, and I believe an E8 from Broadway. And they've been there for a very long time. We even have some Baltimore, Ohio's. We have a couple of them. We have a good amount of E's from Broadway, especially this Paragon 1 boxes. And I figured, you know what? I might as well get a pair of these because, these are good. These are fairly good, and it's almost as if I don't really have to check inside there, but we're going to do that anyways. I'm going to end my part here talking about, how good these are, but we're actually going to look under the underside and look at one of the gearboxes. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside the gearbox. You got these dark gray gears in here. They look really nice. They all look good. Nothing looks damaged. They're pretty well greased in here, so I'm not really worried about anything about that. And inside there, deep inside there, is the tower. And the tower pretty much has the worm gear in there. Most likely has those, I'm trying to find the word again. Thrust washers that protect the bearings, that hold it inside the gearbox tower top. We only got black gears in here, so these are really good, high quality gears that are inside here. So I'm pretty impressed. This is pretty good. So for those who want to see what the gearbox looks like, these are really nice gearboxes, really good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reattach the cover. Just press it down. Try to press it down, keep pressing it down. So now it's locked in place again. And all that nonsense. So, and if you saw, the pickups are all along the inside on the outside of the frame, not on the inside. So this is what those modern diesels, usually Athearn does this. And they do this kind of thing where, all the stuff is on the outside rather than the inside. Inside the gearbox to do the pickups, it's on the outside as bearings. So you have to lubricate those. Just remember to lubricate that so there's not a lot of wear and tear. Same thing on the other side. Just make sure, and you should be good. The gearboxes are really good on these. In case you never doubt these, I'm just letting you know these are pretty good. Pretty good gearboxes. So anyways, I'm going to close this thing up, put all the screws back on, and then we'll get back to the other A unit for the Paragon's 3 set, and we'll open that up, and we'll take a look inside and check out the gearbox as well. Alrighty, I don't know if you can already tell, but something's very familiar with this whole thing. As you can see, there's some screws here and some screws there. There's also some screws here for that metal plate that we had to get out on the B unit. So this is a good sign that roughly these are all the same, guys. The cabin tier is the same. There's only one LED here, and there's no Mars light in here or main headlight, depending on whichever it is. So, yeah, I would suspect that, most of the wiring is the same if you wanted to do a TCS WOW or whatever install. I think the gray wire over here that's going down here is right rail. You could also double check by looking at the bottom. It'll tell you which wire goes to which. And the black wire is left rail. Same thing with the front. All you have is an LED that goes for the headlight. This is not really a complicated model. There's the Paragon 3 decoder, which is pretty much the main downside of this model, guys, is that, yes, this is a long diesel. It's got a lot of pickup. But as soon as you pick up dirt, it's going to do the stop and start nonsense that a lot of Paragon 3 models do. And some people are like, well, I haven't had that issue. And to those people, I say, good for you. I mean, that's good. It's still a problem, though. It's still an issue. And personally, I don't like that. I don't like having issues with my models. There's no smoke unit or any of that junk in here, so you don't have to worry about, anything melting and whatnot. We can open this up and see what's inside. Let's see what kind of motor we have in here. Now, Paragon 3 has a bad habit of putting 3-pole motors in here, and they look like 5-pole motors. So, just giving a heads up. Hopefully we do not see that inside this model. All right, now I'm unscrewing the cab area so I can be able to... Holy cow, that's a long piece right there. Put that down. So it is going to be really interesting to see what we find in here. Hopefully I do not see a Paragon 3 motor in here. If it's similar to the T1, just keep in mind, some people are like, well, it's a 5-pole. To be honest, guys, if the motor goes bad, you'll know. Usually when the coder goes bad, the motor went bad too. It's just one of those things you got to be careful with when it comes to Paragon 3, and hence why I'm staying away from most Paragon 3 models, or I'm just going to sell them off. Now, you might be like, well, what about that J1? That was a Paragon 3, and what about the L1? Well, the L1 and J1 pretty much have the same motor, and they are Walther's Proto, well, not Walther's Proto, but Walther's Trainline FA, FB motors, 3-pole. I mean, they're the good kind, but they're not the greatest. And that's a shame because the L1, only was seen in Paragon 3, right? It's only seen in Paragon 3, and that's it. It was only seen in Paragon 3. There's no... I haven't seen a rerun for them in Paragon 4, unfortunately. So I'm kind of nervous, how long the L1 will probably last. Now, I've seen people run like 100 cars with it. And if they're weighted or not, that's another thing. And if the freight cars that I've seen another person pull on YouTube, pull 100 cars, no problem. Which the J1 that Broadway made with that motor in Paragon 3 is still pretty strong as well. I don't have to really worry about it as much. It's just really the longevity of the motor, because once one of those poles go out, it's 2 poles, and it's going to be drawing more current, from, the whole system to get that, to compensate for missing that other, pole that gets burnt out. So, it's just one of those things that you have to be aware of. They're still good. I've had people who've seen those models, and it's in the H10 as well. I'm not sure if there's actually a 5-pole core inside there, but, it's the same one I've seen in the H10. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what will be the problem with that in the long run. And the H10s, they don't go fast. They're using switcher service in the later years for yard work and all that stuff, or heavier trains, so they had the H10s were relegated pretty much, and the other H series that survived near the end of steam for short work, short runs, locals, and other stuff. So I think we got the last screw out of here. But yeah, motors. It's just one of those things I don't really like about Paragon 3, which happened to pretty much my first T1. Oh, where's the screw? Luckily it didn't go flying somewhere. And, that's just one of those things I have to be worried about. Can we see under there? I don't know if we were going to be able to. Let me see. Let's see. Or is it too tight that we cannot see under here? I don't know. It might be. That's not what I'm hoping. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Sorry, speaker. Whoops. Everything's fine. Anywho, let's see. I'm trying not to do too much just to see what's under here. There's tabs on both sides. Jeez. Yeah, this sucker does not want to open up easily. Let me see if I can push one of the tabs in. I'm going to have to do two hands with this, guys. Give me a second and I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a problem than usual, but I can see slightly in here. If you see that white and with that silver on the other side, that motor right there, right, that's the motor. It's the same thing as it's the same thing as that 3-pole motor you see in a Walther's mainline model. And this H10, of course. The H10 has that motor as well. I have it upside down. Why? Well, because I'm going to eventually get a decoder for that. I know I already did a video on one of them, but I should have got another one so I could get the other H10 running and all that stuff. But yeah, this right here, right? Let's focus again. That is a Walther's train line 3-pole motor right there. I'm not sure what exactly it is. Now, could it be a 5-pole? I don't know. I don't know how interchangeable the shells for these motors and their cores are. So I'm going to say it's the same motor as the J1 and the L1 and as the H10. So for in terms of longevity, it's probably not going to last as long as these. Realistically, if you run it like how my club does it, which I'm not going to do with these guys, I'll probably run them for one fair and for 4 hours, and that's it. Not going really fast or anything, going, passenger speeds and whatnot. It's around 60, 70 miles per hour in scale. It's not going to be a big deal if you're going to run them once, but if you're going to use this for club usage, don't get the Paragon 3 version. Because then you're going to have to ask Broadway for, around $30 for a 4-pole motor that can fit in here, hopefully, and see how that works, these had twin flywheels in there, and I saw them. I was like, man, those are nice. So, when we look at this, right, it's just, I'm rather concerned. The gearboxes, I'm not worried about. We don't even have to look in the gearboxes, guys. It's the same gearbox gears as this. It's really the motor and the decoder that are going to be the main issue for this model. Drivetrain wise, until the motor, it's fine. Some people are like, well, 3-poles are pretty good too, and the Walther's mainline 3-pole is not that bad. It's pretty robust. It'll last a good amount of time, and that's true. It depends on how you use these models. Personally, I like the longest lasting stuff, without me having to maintain it. Now, people are like, well, you should maintain your stuff. Of course, that's what I do with my models. I make sure they're maintained. And for fair usage, I check and make sure they look good, that everything runs well, that they're well lubed before doing a very long session of running them. most of my models, I don't even run that much, especially when I'm busy or if I'm out somewhere. Most of the time, they're sitting in their cubbies. That's really what they're doing. It's not the most insulated thing in the world, but it keeps a lot of things out. Keeps actually dust out for a good amount as well. So dust is kept out. There's no dirt getting in there. There's no really. Well, there is some probably moisture that gets in there, but not as much as you would think, since I live in an air conditioned house and an air conditioned room where they're at. I will not store my models in my room because I can guarantee you all the liquids and grease would leak out from the bottom. And you're probably like, oh, that's not good. And I'm like, yeah, it's not good. I used to have O-scale models, and I can tell you that it did not do well. So keep these in a very well, not just a lit, just keep these in a well air-conditioned area so that there's not a lot of, humidity or anything like that. And vice versa, just make sure there's no humidity and make sure there's no, anywhere that shit can get inside the models. So we're going to put the screws back on here and we're going to give these a test run. Now, we're not going to look inside the B unit because there's nothing really in there. There's nothing really in there. There's nothing at all inside the B unit model. There's a motor, there's the gearbox towers, but there's no gears inside this. Otherwise, it would cause extra drag. So they're free rolling. They're on their bearings. They still have the bearings in here, but as you can see, there's no wire soldered to these, and there's most likely no gears in these for rollability reasons. So you're gonna have to keep these lubed for smooth rolling, and if you want to get, you're gonna have to get the geared wheel sets. You're gonna have to get, the gears that go inside. You're gonna have to fully disassemble this model to do that, or you're gonna have to ask Broadway to give you, the gearbox towers. They're already done, and it's probably gonna cost some money. I don't know how much, but it's gonna cost some good money to redo these towers and these trucks. So you just swap out the trucks. And then you're going to have to get the motor and the drive shaft that are under here. I think this plate is already inside there. You're going to have to get the speakers. You're going to have to get the coders. You're going to have to get wires. If you want Paragon 3 for whatever reason, it's going to be a lot of work. And it's just a waste of time. And in my opinion, it's going to be a waste of money. In my opinion, even though this is the latest and it's supposed to be the greatest, this is better, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't have a Blue Line E7 or E8 or E6. I don't have any of those, and Pennsylvania didn't really have E6s, which is a shame, kind of, because the E6s look nice. I don't have any E8s. I might get an E8 from Broadway, an older one, obviously. I don't want Paragon 3. Paragon 2, maybe. Doesn't mean I'll keep the electronics in it. You guys already know me. And my dog's getting excited again. I'll re-screw all this back on and, we'll close this up and then we'll do some test running. But so far, guys, before I do test runs, I'm heavily leaning on these and these. I can already tell you these are going to sound worse than this. But, again, you get another powered unit. And Broadway just like, oh, well, we're going to make people pay more to have another powered B unit. It's like, really? So, for better or for worse when it comes to Broadway, just be careful. Or you can get a Walthers. And you can always get a Walthers. I'm pretty sure you can get the Walthers ones. And I've seen on eBay already for $400, you can get an AB, Walthers Proto, E7A or E8A with an E7B. I think there's also another E7B, E7A, and E7B Walthers Proto as well. You can buy as well for cheaper, and it has Tsunami sound in there as well. It's pretty good, and you can get it. I mean, it's expensive. It's more than I got for these, and that's without doing the TCS WOW conversion that I plan to do on these. It's more expensive than having this and this, but you get both powered units, and you get pretty good electronics and really good drive as well. And there's still parts supported. Broadway stopped parts supporting their older ones, which I think is dumb. It's going to be the same stuff as the modern stuff. You can probably just swap out the axle gears and the truck towers with these. To be honest with you guys, they're the same freaking thing. Don't worry about it. If you need to swap these out for whatever reason, gears are worn out and whatnot, ask Broadway for a new gear truck tower in your truck. And you just swap it in, and there you go. It's the end of the day. You can keep the worm gears on the top. They're going to be fine. They're going to last forever, unless you mess them up somehow. And that's it. So already, I'm leaning towards Paragon 1, guys. We'll do the electrical tests with the sounds and all that stuff, and you guys can make a decision on what you feel like is personally better. But at the end of this video, I'm gonna score both of these, and we'll see who wins out. Alrighty, let's start with the E8s. Not E8s, E7s, guys. These are the Tuscan Rare ones from the QSI. This is what they sound like. We'll try the bell. Got the number board lit up over here. That's pretty cool. Headlight is in prototypical, so the light's down when it's not moving forward. So it's dimmed. Nice sounding horns. Got couplers. Not sure what those do. F5 does that. 6, I believe, applies the brakes. F7 still lets the locomotives move. Mute is F8. F9, not sure what that does. Does some other sounds. F10 and 11 do some other unique sounds as well. So we're gonna test how they move. Whoops, I think I put the brake back on. Oh, I turned them off. Yep, I turned them off. Hold on. Technical difficulties. There we go. We'll turn on the engines. There they go. Doing well together. That's 2 powered units. So when you have 2 powered units, you can pull any train. And man, these are loud. got that seafoam green interior, which you can still see because of the lights. So yeah, the sounds are pretty good on these models. It's just they sound rather outdated with their quality. At first, I was having a little bit of difficulty wondering why the A unit was not moving, but I realized I had the prime mover turned off. I think it's F6, so that's why it wasn't really moving. It was like the B unit was trying to push it, so I was like, oh well, better figure out what's going on with that. But then, yeah, it got fixed, and now they're running in unison together on the same address. Next, we'll test out those E units right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off the track. First, I'm going to turn off the power, since we do not need power right now. Here, they quickly turn off, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there we go. And B unit's off. And we'll put on this, and we already know that this is non-powered, but we'll still have it connected just to show how they look like together. They have that really nice closed diaphragm right here. Really like that. I really like what Broadway does with that. I believe that Walthers does that as well. Now, strange enough, I don't think Athearn does E units, which I think is strange. I haven't seen anything about Athearn E units in like a while. I'm not sure if they still make them. I know Rapido has made these as well. They have made E units, and they're very, very nicely detailed with ESU sound. So obviously, those are going to be probably top of the line as you can get with E units. So, I mean, they did E8/E9s. I don't think they did E7s, unfortunately, which is kind of a bummer, you know. I wanted to see E7s. But yeah, it's if you want top of the line E units, it's going to probably be Rapido or Walthers Proto. Other than that, you know, if you want to get reliable E units, you know, for good value, you know, go for the QSI ones. And I'm still favoring over the QSI ones. And I know some people are like, well, these sounds are going to sound better, so let's turn this on. Oh, look at that. This is 5840 as well. Who would have thought, right? Except this is dark green, so turn them on. There you go, both prime movers just turned on. Kind of like that bell. We got the horn. A lot of reefer, a lot of vibration going on inside here, unfortunately. Got the coupler slack. Got the air pump. This is what's going on inside here with the dynamic brake. It's at the back sometimes around here. I think it's also in the front, but this is where you hear that pounding sound. You hear this on model diesel, real diesels as well in the modern era. Especially after a train comes to a stop, you know, releases that pressure off when there's no power. F8 mutes it, just gets a little horn. But that's it. It only works for F2 and F1. And we put the sounds back on for the A unit. Other sounds. You got your crew talk.
Be advised, switches on the north end might be against you, so go out looking out for switches. Categorized. Permission to depart. Be advised, switches on the north end might be against you, so go out looking out.
And I like the diesel, you know. The diesels having, you know, the radios and all that stuff. The steam engines are pretty cool too. They had a radio back then as well. And the sound quality for the radios are actually rather realistic. There's not the greatest sound quality, but, you know, they were still pretty good for the time. But the problem is that the sounds are rather too realistic, like rather too modern, in my opinion. I could be wrong. We're going to power up, get this A unit moving. Good amount of slow speed control. Got a nice headlight up front. And we're going to see how it runs around the layout. Pick up some speed. We're already at like 60% here. We'll go to 80%. And you're probably wondering, why is it squeaking? That's probably the bearing. Now that I've never heard before. I'm pretty sure with some lube that will fix that problem. Sounds like it's coming from the wheel bearings. I can always check the inside where the motor is if I wanted to, but I have to tear it open. I don't feel like doing that. So I'll probably do the lubrication where the bearings for the electrical pickups for the wheels are. Let's look at F22, see what the alternator horn is. Now that horn sounds more realistic for the era, since it had, you know, single note horns on both PRR units. So it's like a Leslie horn. It's probably a Leslie 200. Though I think, you know, TCS WOW's Leslie 200s are better in my opinion. Sound quality sounds really similar to the QSI ones. Some people are like, well, it's a lot better. Personally, for me, in person, sound qualities are similar. Now, yes, there's a lot of vibrations inside here because Broadway likes to make their locomotives loud. But I'm pretty sure if you do some TCS WOW conversions or some other conversions with different speakers, you could probably make the sounds less vibration-y. So it comes down to that, and you could probably adjust the settings as well. Personally, I got this set, AB set for $300, and I got this QSI set from Trains for $250. So, which one would be better? Well, obviously, in my opinion, the QSI is better. You get 2 powered sound locomotives, so you get twice the power pulling your trains rather than just one A unit with a dummy B unit. That pretty much is a coach, pretty much, with some more, maybe some more, how should I say it, friction. So, it really comes down to what you really want. And personally, I'm more worried about the motor quality and the decoder quality of the Paragon 3 model than the QSI ones. Now, personally, as a good project locomotive to put whatever decoder you want in, go for the QSI ones. They're usually cheaper. And if anybody's trying to highball you and they think, they say, "Oh, I know what I got. No lowballers," to those guys, they're BS. They're honestly BS. They think, they can control the market. And to be honest, guys, just look at the sold listings. These things go for a rather good price, even in really good condition as well. Yes, this is missing a coupler box in the front, but you can always get more. And, get like a longer shank coupler for Katie. And while there's not the limited amount of functions, it's fine for what it is. You don't need too much. And then some people are like, "Well, I want everything." Okay, well, that's for you. For me, what matters is, the sounds. Are they good? They're okay. They still sound like early 2000s, late 90s Lionel. It's just, it is what it is. It's not the most great sounding models in the world, but the details are pretty good. They're not like the Walthers Proto. The Walthers Proto is going to probably have more details on them. There's some simply applied details you will have to add yourself to the front and back. Nothing too complicated. And there's a little bit less detail, without a builder's plate down here and some painted, details. But that's fine. Personally, I think that's okay. You can hand paint it yourself if you want to. In terms of the sticker or whatever decal for the builder's plate on the tank, good luck with that, honestly. But it's fine. I mean, everything on this model looks pretty much the same otherwise compared to, this other model right here, which I will be resetting back to factory 3s. It's going to be back to address 3. So when I sell it, nobody's complaining. It's like, it's not running, Some people don't like to read stuff. It happens. And it's for, good reason. In case anybody wants to do something with it, that's totally up to them. Paragon 3 model. Yeah, this has pretty much the separately applied stuff on the model applied on here, so it's fine. It's pretty good. I think there's more details, separately applied details you can add on for the QSI from the QSI one than the Paragon 3 one. And I don't know if the Paragon 3 even comes with the plate. I checked in the box, I didn't see a plate, but I could be missing, looking inside there, seeing where that plate is. Other than that, that's pretty much it. In terms of a rating score, I give the QSI one base without any extra lighting features or TCS WOW upgrades. AB set, I would give, a solid 6 out of 10. It's closer to a 7 than a 5. Now you might be wondering, well, this is a really good looking model. Don't get me wrong, the train phone's nice. The horns are pretty good. The cow catcher's accurate. The plow's accurate up front. It's pretty good. I'm not saying it's bad. It is missing some details, you know, and they're minor, you know, some paint, some more builder's plates, and maybe some, you know, maybe just some ladders or the, you know, the over the top. And I could be wrong, you know. Some of these were customized to have certain details. There is no crew figures inside, which is kind of a bummer. You can always add them. It's not hard to add them. You just take the shell off. You don't have to like take the, you know, the inner, you know, shell inside here, right? You don't have to take the cab area and like yank it from the bottom of the shell right here, which for some other reason, other manufacturers have done that where it's enclosed, which in my opinion, it's a pain in the butt, not fun to add stuff. So that's my opinion on that. Honestly, I'd rather be able to do something with that than not. And, you know, there is no backup light. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of lighting features really, except for the number boards. So if I put this on here, right, the number boards light up. This is cool. Both versions do that. Both versions have the number boards light up, which is pretty cool. You know, there is no marker lights. Unfortunately, you would have to probably drill a hole, like a really small hole in the front. And I'm pretty sure the lights would still look pretty good, even if you drill the hole. You can put marker lights and, you know. I don't think that's all you have to do if you really wanted to add marker lights to both the Paragon 3 model and all the other versions as well. Taking this guy off again. Strange. Taking this guy off, you know. It really shows, you know, how well these are made. And it's a pretty solid model. The drivetrain is really good on these QSI ones. The motor's pretty good as well. It's a 5-pole. The iridescent color can motor is really good. I call it the iridescent motor because, well, it's iridescence. It's got a goldish iridescence to it. And they're really solid from what I found. And if you see a lot of people selling them, they're still running, guys. They're still running out there. They keep running. They just don't die. Don't know why, but that's from my experience and what I've seen. Now to the Paragon 3. Paragon 3 models. That, yes, it has, you know, more updated sounds. However, it's still pretty much an updated QSI decoder. It still sounds like the early 2000s Lionel. You know, it's got some crew. It's got crew talk and all that stuff. Some more features. That's great. And and it's got some slightly more details. Obviously, it's all separately applied. And there you go. That slight, you know, dirty track or slight lift off. There you go. It's off. But, you know, some slightly more, you know, details right here and whatnot. Right down here. It's minimal. And, you know, I already added the grab irons right here in the front. Personally, I mean, it's not gonna overscore this one. To be objective, though, this AB set is a 5 out of 10. Closer to a 6 than, you know, a 5. Than a 4, actually. Not really to a 4, to a 5. It's already a 5. It's a 5 out of 10. Closer to a 6 than a 4. Why? Why is it scoring lower than an older model? Well, take it like this. This B unit, for the value that you get for this, during its time where I got it for, it should have been powered with sound. There's no reason why Broadway should start this, you know, nonsense where you get an unpowered B unit. Some people are like, well, it's not really necessary. Trust me, guys. You want more power to alleviate the stress between the motors. It's pure, you know. It's been tried and tested at my club for many years for fair operations and for long-term running. I can tell you that it's better to have 2 powered units than 1 for the price. And and you know, the 3-pole, possible pretty much 3-pole motor in here from Paragon 3 and the faulty Paragon 3 decoder you have to worry about over time. The early Paragon 3 decoders, not the Type H where it has, like, you know, the keep alives and stuff later on. or some of the later early Paragon 4 decoders that they would give out that I put in my models at one point on my K4 Streamlined. You know, it's just gut it out, you know. And the problem is these are kind of hard to find, the Paragon 3s, and a lot of people are charging them for a good amount of money. Personally, I would sell this right around the same price as this, maybe a little bit more. I'm not going to give exact numbers. You'll probably see it on eBay. And you get to, you know, make a decision on yourself if you want the Paragon 3 version or not. It's just a shame that this B unit is just not powered, guys. I can't give it a higher score, even though it's got slightly better sounds and, you know, slightly more details. This is not the most detailed E7 unit in the world, especially Pennsylvania. Yes, I know. Like, you know, what could be better? You got Walther's Proto. Walther's Proto's got a lot of stuff, including, you know, if you want to get an A-B set. I don't know if they still do A-B sets, or if they still do them separately. I haven't seen the E7s in a while. But they would get them in a set for around $500 now, which is insane in my opinion. But what you get is, you know, you get 2 powered units, reliable drivetrains, and really good details. And now Rapido's in the game, and to be honest, if I were to have a Rapido, it would probably be a 9 or 8 or 9 out of 10 compared to these. So it just goes to show, you know, how far Broadway has to go to be on par with, you know, the big 3 of, you know, early diesels, which is Rapido, Athearn, and Walther's. We don't know about scale trains because we don't know if they're going to do early diesels yet, but that's just to tell you in comparison what I would rate, you know, comparing to a Rapido or a Walther's. A Walther's would probably be around 7 or 8, maybe somewhere around there, but the Rapido is going to probably be the number 1 if I have one, but I'm not going to spend that much money for a model unless I get it on discount. So yeah, guys, that's my rating for both of these, you know. For the QSI ones, 6 out of 10, closer to a 7 than a 5. And then this one, Paragon 3, is a 5 out of 10, closer to, you know, a 6 than a 4. It's a good model, runs fairly well. I'm just again, it's the decoder, the motor, and why do I not have another powered unit? You know, why do I not have another powered unit in this set? So anywho, this was the in-depth review on the Broadway Limited E7s from 2 very different generations, from some of the earliest to the latest in Broadway's lineup of models over time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys make a decision of which ones you would like to buy. Unfortunately, I do not have a Paragon 2 available, so I cannot review that, unfortunately. So, make as you wish. This is what I scored it. This is what I showed you. You guys are smart enough to make your own decisions of what you want to buy. And that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys next time in the next video. This is Pennsy Joe signing out. Bye now.